Hey guys, I'm back again, and today I'm kind of confused of how this video is going to work. I'm going to be naming random cartoons and why I like them. I'm not putting these in order because do I look like a film director? Do I look like Phantom Strider to you? Or SS Bells or other people? Do I look like that? No. So that's why. But I can at least name why I like them. So, let's kick off this list with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Remember, this isn't listed. This is just shows I like. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is probably the most creative out of these shows that I'm naming. For character-wise, and I don't mean personality, I mean the way that they look. They at least look cute in some ways. But Foster's is great because of how much potential it has and the characters are. Blue is a blue buffoon, and he's at least enjoyable and learns his lessons. Will is just that usually with jocks, they're uncool and they're kind of a jerk. Well, jocks aren't uncool, but they're kind of a jerk. But Wilt, on the other hand, is a fantastic jock and is at least kind. Eduardo is a fun-loving scaredy cat who can always bring a laugh. And Mac is at least me when I was at least 8 years old. And I don't mean that by imaginary friends. I mean like real friends in elementary. And right now I'm in 6th grade. So Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was actually what I was watching on Cartoon Network when I was younger. When I was 5 years old, I once stayed up till 12 a.m. And my parents would not usually let me stay up until 12 a.m. when I was only 5 years old. My parents let me stay up that late just to watch Foster. Yay! Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. But besides that, Foster's was a great show, and it was something perfect to get me to like Cartoon Network. Now, Ben 10. I don't see this show get credited a lot. I see just reviewers just pass it on. Like, oh yeah, Ben 10. Alright, what's next? Adventure Time? Okay, let's talk about Adventure Time. That's how I literally feel about Ben 10. And I'm not talking about the now ones. I'm talking about original. Original Ben 10, when he was at least 10, I think. Well, he looked 10 to me. Maybe that's why he was called Ben 10. I need a life. But, yeah, Ben 10 had this story. It had this background. It had this animation to it that showed real character development. It was perfect. It was a great show. And I'm glad to see that at least I'm talking about it. And I don't see a lot of other people talk about this show. And I think it deserves credit. So, next is Ed and Eddie. And I'm not putting these in ratings, so don't get mad if it looks like it's at number 8. It's not. I'm just putting these in the ones that I could think of off the top of my head. Ed and Eddie. Where do I start? From the jawbreaker problems to just school problems. This show is fantastic, and I can see why some people call it the greatest of all time. Now, if you know me, if you know me, I don't think it's the greatest of all time, but I think it is one of the greatest of all time. I don't think it's the greatest of all time. So I'm sorry, and I just kind of revealed my opinion, so I'll just slap myself. Ow. So yeah, Ed and Eddie had this creativeness to it. It had these characters that you were able to enjoy. and it just had this. They just had this mindset to it that just showed real character in these kids. Eddie was always money driven and learned his lessons at times. Double D is that cool nerd that you actually kind of wish you had. And Ed is just that gross kid that you're friends with and you're kind of happy that you're friends with. Personally, Double D is my favorite. Well, when I was younger, but now since I'm older, Rolf is my favorite character along with Kevin. And this show is fantastic, and I think it's one of the greatest. Courage the Cowardly Dog. Courage the Cowardly Dog is a show about a purple dog living on a farm with his two elders, Muriel and Eustace, and they get into this creepy and disturbing stuff. Yes, I just said they get into creepy and disturbing stuff. Weird to hear that from Cartoon Network, huh? They're usually known for bad shows or a great show that does not involve too much creepiness. But this show lifted Cartoon Network off of its little happy feet. The ones that people say, oh my God, Cartoon Network is for kids, they could never be scared of it. I mean, how could they? I'll bet you $100 your 5-year-old kid will get scared of any episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Even the characters that weren't even scary were frightening. Every character in there has some unique style. Eustace was known as that abusive father, and Muriel was known as that kind lady. There's just so much difference between two people. It's great to know. And it's great to see that. Also, not only that, but the art style of some of these villains. If you want a perfect example of what I'm talking about, take a look at King Ramses. Mainly out of most of the frightening characters in Courage the Cowardly Dog, they kind of have the same art style. Ramses, on the other hand, has bad CGI effects. It looks like if I took a poop and they turned it in CGI, added colors, added other effects, and that's what King Ramses looked like to me. But anyways, Ramses was always different. And let me shut up about Ramses. But not only that, but the villains were always creepy to watch. If you want a good example, take a look at the Great Fusili, who turned other people into puppets. And if you really think about the episode hard, at the end, you're probably thinking that Courage is playing around with dead bodies. So, this show is my all-time favorite, and you guys probably know that. So I'm going to slap myself onto the next show. And we have Adventure Time for the next one. Adventure Time. Do I really need to talk about this? Adventure Time is a great show. Has this story. Has the characters. The art style is beautiful on some people. Courage the Cowardly Dog had scary art style. But this show takes art style to another level. And this show proves that it can have some art style that's creepy and some terrific art that deserves to be in a museum. No, literally. Museum of Manhattan. Add Adventure Time to your art room. Come on. You know we need it. So, what do I think is great about this show? Just the story of it. Finn and Jake live in the forest of Oo. They go to... oh God. I shouldn't even be talking about Adventure Time if I don't even know where they go to most of the time. Well, I'm going to shut up about Adventure Time. I proved out why I liked it. Well, to some people. And also, Adventure Time. Keep up your good work. But we only have until 2018 until you live longer. Regular show's next. Regular show. I see some people that hate this show. I don't understand why they hate this show. See, I can understand why some people hate Scooby-Dooby-Doo. I hate Scooby-Dooby-Doo. I wish it never started. I hate every single version of Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Not just the now version, but the past. I wished it burned in a boiling pot of fire. And also, it was just bad. But regular show, I don't understand why people hate this show. The characters are enjoyable. It's not only for kids too. It's about It's for adults too. The atmosphere, where they work at, they prove that parks can be really cool. What do people hate about this show? I'm really asking myself that. What do people hate about this show? This show's really good and perfect. Well, not perfect, but you know what I mean. Probably my favorite part about it is the way that the characters act. Rigby is that idiot that you all enjoy. Muscle Man is that loser that at least has some good character to it. Benson can be a jerk, but can also turn out to be a cool person if you give him some backstory. If you watch my favorite episodes of some of my favorite cartoons, you would know why I like Skips. High Five Ghost is basically Muscle Man, but Muscle Man's great, so I don't have a problem with that. And it's just great. The show's great. Now, before I move on to the next one, I just want to say something about regular show. I stopped watching Cartoon Network in 2010, and I gave up on it because, to be honest, when I was younger, I did not really care about Adventure Time. I really thought, what do people like about this show? But as the older I got, I liked Adventure Time. But in 2012, I was doing my homework one night in first grade. They were showing the episode Bald Mark, where Muscle Man had a bald spot. I was watching that, and I was getting into it. So what happened was Muscle Man got a bald spot, and it was hilarious. And instead of doing my homework, I watched that episode. I did my homework, but I watched that episode first. And it was great. That's how I got into regular show. Who knew that I would like homework for once? But let's move on to the next one, which is... I'm sorry, I'm really tired. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. This show was really good. I used to stay up until 3 a.m. in the morning to watch Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and it was worth it. Billy is that annoying character, and I think it's a good example of what Clarence can be. If you watch my video about guilty pleasures, you can understand that Clarence has some creativeness to it. I think Clarence got this from Billy. Mandy's that mom, sort of Grim and Billy. But she isn't all Sarah, who is my least favorite Ed and Nettie character, Sarah. So, she was good. And Grim is just good. I don't really know how to explain it, but Grim is good. Besides that, the show is perfect. It had that weird atmosphere. Secondary characters like Erwin were great and deserve to be in there. I'm going to make a part 2 of this, okay? So, there will be more. Don't worry. Don't worry.